Peace. Welcome to the team, buddy.
Yeah, we're live now. Hey, boys, how you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Hey, yeah, we're good. We're live. We're 100% live right now on DeanBlundell.com. We're also on Periscope, Twitter, Facebook, and I love these guys, and I'm really glad they're here. Welcome to the Dean Blundell Show from Trainwreck Sports. Joe Konze Jr., who just started writing bills for us. Joe Konze Jr., nice to see you.
How's it going?
I'm good. Your derelict friend Duane Steinel is also here. You look like you just robbed a money mart, by the way.
Do I? Yeah. No, I actually just for the first time since almost a year ago was live on air as a caller to WGR 550. They let me through
today,
like 2 hours ago.
And how'd it go?
I mean, it went fine. I didn't flip out. I didn't go to the intentions of flipping out. I actually commended the host of the show, Shoten Bulldog, as well as their morning guys, Howard and Jeremy, for, the stuff they put up with over the last 2 decades as far as being Buffalo sports media people. I made comments that, we as fans have the choice to ignore, the mediocrity that comes out of this Buffalo sports culture. On a Monday after the last game of the season where the Bills go, 6-10, 7-9, or 8-8, we as fans can ignore it and just move on because we're so used to it. They have to go on air and talk about it 5 days a week, no matter what. Even if they don't want to talk about it, they have to talk about it, whether they're paid or not. That's a difficult thing to do, especially if you're as passionate of a sports fan as me and Konze are. It's not easy. And, to consistently talk about mediocrity in both hockey and football, and I said, even when the teams are good, like the Sabres in the mid to late 2000s, they still find ways to lose, make losing an art form and lose in, controversial fashion. Same with the Bills with wide right for, the hormone throwback, the forward lateral, just everything.
DeAndre Hopkins, Hail Mary was
oh my
enjoyable.
God, you just find a way to lose that makes headlines and just continues to keep the Buffalo the butt end of the joke. We're hoping that the tides have changed here in Buffalo with the Bills. Looks like they have. Let's just hope that there's just, not one more controversial, you pull your hair out of your head type of ending to a game here come Sunday. Yeah. But and then we hope with the Sabres too that things are starting to change. It does look like, even though the results don't show it, this is a different team.
Yeah. You know what? You touched on this. It's an Ode to Buffalo podcast today because the one thing, and I podcast with a Buffalonian, a guy named Darren Pfeiffer, who's in a little rock outfit called Goldfinger. I don't know if you remember the band.
Yeah.
Fucking great guy, like a massive Buffalo booster. And watching his attitude completely change over the past little while because of the success the Bills have had. And he's a massive fucking Sabres fan too. But watching his attitude change, watching him have hope, and then watching what Bills Mafia has done and been doing for 20 years, combine that with sports talk in Buffalo, trying to find the fucking brighter side. It's like one of the biggest reasons why I wanted to talk to you guys today. It's because, you never let yourself believe that we could have a chance this year. Like you point out the mediocrity in the 500 or sub 500 or barely over 500 for the Bills for so many years, and how shit the Sabres have been, how epic their losses have been over the past. They're just ground shaking losses. Like fucking Brett Hull's foot was 3 feet in the crease, boys. 3 feet in the crease.
Oh, I hate it.
You guys know. You want to hear something funny? Online right now, you can buy the jersey Brett Hull wore when he scored that goal for like $20,000, and it's the second time it's been online to buy.
We should fucking buy it and burn it.
I want to.
The demons.
Somebody, and I actually wanted to bring this to Trainwreck's, attention. Somebody has approached me about wanting to buy that jersey and do exactly that, and starting to GoFundMe. And part of me says, yeah, let's do it. But then another part of me is like, you know what? That's part of hockey history. Do we do that?
No.
It's tough. There's a part of me that wants to, and the other side of the fence is part of me that says, don't do it. It's just, I don't know. It's a tough call.
I'd do it. I do it just because it's like great content.
Oh, content. Yeah, any publicity is good publicity, right?
Yeah, you waste 20 grand on a fucking jersey and then you light it on fire. There's nothing that'll piss people off more
It's
than
like
you actually begging people for money, them giving it to you, and then you lighting it on fire. That's
Who
awesome.
was it? Who was it that bought the Barry Bonds ball? Was it Elon Musk?
I don't know if it was no. It was Todd McFarlane. Was it the McFarlane guy, or did he buy?
Yeah,
Mark
they gave people the option. We'll send it to space. We'll do this with it. We'll do that with it. Put an asterisk on it. Like, it was wild.
Yeah.
It's funny, but I agree. I don't know. I don't know. There's better uses of money, and secondly, it's part of hockey history. But again, the other side of it is like, let's do it. Let's burn it.
Well, let's start with the Bills. We've got Joe Konze Jr., who's a Bills writer and a writer for Trainwreck and one of the content providers there. And, of course, Duane, who does some stuff with us and the fellas at Trainwreck. But Trainwreck's had kind of a fucking great year. Not only did you get our Blue Jays and did you bastardize every single game from just across the field, but you guys have been right on it with the Bills too, like absolutely right on it. And what a fucking year to have the Bills actually be really, really good, and not just really good, like good enough to make the playoffs, Cinderella run good, but like, and Joe, you said this when we got on the phone, like toe to toe with the best teams in the NFL for the first time in a fucking quarter century.
Yeah, if you told me in 2017 that we would be here, I would have told you, get out of here. Just that, I don't know. Just the way I was feeling in 2017, the Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback. They were still trying to break this drought. And, you're going into that going, okay, Tyrod's here for another year. What's going to happen? Well, they break the drought on like the craziest freaking night of the year, New Year's Eve. The Bills beat Miami. They take care of business. And then we're waiting for the Bengals Ravens game, and my God, Andy Dalton drops back. There's the flag, gets him at midfield, and then he hits Tyler Boyd for the game winner. I almost fell into my boss's fireplace and literally burned myself. That's how excited I was, but I didn't care because this is something I was witnessing for the first time in my life, because I don't remember much except for like 95 and 96, the tail end of Jim Kelly's career, and then the Music City Miracle, which, Dean, the Music City Miracle, when this happened, I was in the process of making my communion. Okay. I'm in the front row in the pew. My dad's home, like, you got to go there and you got to be a good Catholic and go there. And I'm like, all right, I'll go. But he got to sit home and watch it. And when I found out they lost, because everything was radio back then, there was no iPhones, no anything. I swore in church so loud, my mother, I thought, was going to slap me. And she's like, oh no. So
how everyone 13?
Bitch. No, I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old, swearing in church, screaming my head off. Yeah, no, it was worse. It was like, fuck, like really quick. So
fuck me.
My mom's looking at me. My sister's like, what did you just do? You're in
You
God's
scream,
house,
listen,
right?
dude, you scream fuck me in a Catholic church, you're gonna get a couple of old fellas in these cool collars come around and go,
sure.
I got it.
It gets better. I go back to do my confession. The priest is back there. He goes, Joe, is there anything you want to tell me? Maybe you committed a sin or anything? I go, Father, I just swore really loud in church. And Father Mike, I'll never forget him. He turns, he goes, me too. We're going to do this confession together. Oh, man. So this has been a season to remember.
Hey, just a question. Nothing else happened after that with you and the good father? You're good? Okay. Okay.
I was in and out of there. And
boy, I don't know.
I think back to that day every time the Bills have some type of success, and just what I've gone through, what we've gone through as a city, and what a record-breaking year for this team. Josh Allen, he sets franchise records, for passing touchdowns in a season with 37. He's got 45 total with the rushing included. Completion percentage was a 69.2. Nice. A 69.2 after people dogged him out of college for his
almost a full 10% better than the previous
10% better. And his
20% better than 2 years prior, right? What was he? He was around 50%,
58 something.
Yeah.
And then his quarterback rating 107.2. Now I bring up these numbers not because I'm trying to like impress you, Dean, or impress you, Duane, or impress anybody. I bring this up because
impressed.
These numbers mean everything to this franchise right now, because the Bills live and die by Josh Allen. it has been a roller coaster ride just watching this guy play. And the fact that he comes from Wyoming, which Wyoming has become the biggest Bills like mafia place other than Buffalo since Josh Allen's been drafted. It's just amazing. Just a lot of feel good stories, and the city's buzzing right now. You know, and it's incredible, and it's been just such a great ride. And
have you guys ever seen the city like this before? Because like, yeah, touching the playoffs over the past couple of years, you never really, you gave them a puncher's chance, but you never really believed in it, right? I don't know. And I'm a little older than you guys. I was a Bills fanatic when they lost 4 in a row. Just a Bills fanatic. I loved Thurman Thomas. I loved Bruce Smith. I loved Steve Tasker. I still love Jim Kelly and the changes he's gone through and the battles he's had. But you just, to relive those 4 years as a Bills fan and to see this now, just from my perspective, and I'm not in it. Like, keep in mind, I'm just like a surface fan. I'm one of those guys that likes an out-of-market team just because I do, because it was really the only NFL football we would get when I lived out west was Buffalo Bills football. You'd get the odd Lions game, but this is the first time that I can remember in 25 years, not just, wannabes, tryhards, but they are not just legitimately contenders this year. I can't see the way this team is put together and how young they are and what they did this year. I can't see this window not being open for a long fucking period of time. Like, I know what it's like to feel like a Kansas City Chiefs fan today, right? Where you got Patrick Mahomes, you won your fucking, you won a championship, you got your Super Bowl, and the window's still wide open. And I feel the same way about the Bills for the first time, maybe ever.
Yeah, go ahead, Duane.
No, I agree. Piggybacking off what Konze said earlier, a funny story for me too. When we ended the drought, I have a unbelievable picture of me and my buddy John King. We actually drove to New York City that weekend to go to the Winter Classic. The Sabres were playing the Rangers at I think it was Citi Field? Yeah, Citi Field. And we went out to like a shirt and tie New Year's Eve event. This is immediately after the Bills ended the drought, and we said, fuck it, we're wearing our Bills gear. Who gives a shit? So there is a solid picture at like a legitimate, like a shirt tie, like party. And we're passed out. Me and my Fred Jackson jersey of beer in my hand, him and his Thurman jersey of beer in that hand, just completely cooked, just on the couch like this, just celebrating what we thought was at that time, obviously the biggest moment in the history of the Bills not in the history of the Bills, but for us in memory, like what we could remember, like that was our moment. And then little did we know 3 years later that it all would come to fruition. Everything would come first full circle, and we would be playing Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. But
with a shot. With a
legitimate shot.
Yeah. Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. You shot for shot offensively. We can go toe to toe with Kansas City without a shout of a doubt. I think realistically it's going to come down to who's going to play better defense, or who's going to make that big play on defense, who's going to get the takeaways. Are we going to be able to force, Patrick Mahomes, to throw an errant pass or, and pick off the ball or force a fumble. I think that's really what this game is going to come down to, is that one play, that crucial turnover that's really going to change everything. Because I think offensively, this could be realistically be a game, honest to God, where there's no punts. Like, honestly, realistically,
56 to 52, 56
to 52.
Take the over.
100%, whatever the over is, hammer the over. Just realistically, a game where you could see, maybe 1 or 2 total punts the entire game, because these teams can go toe to toe each other offensively. They're both so dangerous offensively. Yeah, the running game isn't as glaring for Buffalo, and this week also, with who are they missing? Konze, I forget. They're going to be missing Kansas City. Can't running back. Why can't I remember his name?
Edwards-Helaire.
Yes.
Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, Edwards-Helaire. They're supposed to, he's not, he's questionable to play, not expected to play. I don't know.
You're welcome for the deep football knowledge, by the way, fellas. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Not just a pretty face.
Yeah, I know. And look at that hair too, by the way.
Arctic blonde. Hair. Yeah. Me and Bon Jovi have the same hair.
Anyway, we don't talk about Bon Jovi. We don't talk about Bon Jovi.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Why not?
With all that being said, this team can go toe to toe with Kansas City. Yeah. Absolutely. like, so this is going to be a high scoring affair. And honest to God, you speaking to the culture you asked, talked about the city.
Yep.
This city hasn't been this electric since those Sabres runs in the mid to late 2000s, where literally you couldn't turn a corner and you didn't see somebody wearing something Sabres, a hat, a jersey, this, you know, you hear, ooh, Sabres on a warpath everywhere you went. The city was electric. You had 10,000 fucking people outside the arena packing the plaza. All that shit you see in Nashville, the parties in the plaza, that started right here in Western New York, right here in downtown fucking Buffalo. That's how passionate this fucking fan base is. And I tell you right now, if we make it to the Super Bowl, there is going to be a sacrificial lamb somewhere in Western New York. Someone might lose their life. Someone's business or property might get burned to the ground because people are going to lose their fucking mind in this city.
I don't know the Buffalo fans. Thank you for that. I don't know if Buffalo fans are that dickish though. Like, I don't think, see, this is the thing about Bills.
We are.
Well, they are, but like, how about the $400,000 that you guys donated to? Hold it. The
Lamar Jackson's.
Yeah, no, there's a difference. Charitable. Yeah,
Lamar Jackson's charity. You fed like hundreds and hundreds of people, and you beat the shit. First, you beat the shit out of the Ravens, and then after you beat the shit out of the Ravens, you're like, let's feed some hungry people. That's not a fan base of people that like shit on Fire Kid.
Let me explain the difference. Dickish to a point where we get drunk and stupid and do stupid shit. Absolutely. There's fucking thousands of hours of video footage online that you can see of us doing dumb shit. But when it comes to the difference is, when people speak ill of us, we don't go on the attack and speak ill of them. We do it in a different way. That radio host in Baltimore, how much money did Bills Mafia donate to? He had a child. I forget what the illness was, but they donated thousands and thousands of dollars.
His mother had,
was his mother.
His mother had Alzheimer's.
Yeah. You see what happened with Josh Allen's mother here, with Oshai Children's Hospital, Lamar Jackson's charity. Yes. But when it comes to just like when we get amped up over something, when something's going on, sometimes things get out of hand. Sometimes shit happens. I remember Konze, you might remember this, when the Bills were we didn't even win. We were beating Dallas in that Monday Night Football game years ago.
2007?
Yeah.
The Nick Folk field goal where I wanted to kick him in the face.
Yeah. There was a place of business. There was some restaurant on Southwestern Boulevard.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Konze. Remember, it was burned to the ground. Like some idiot burned to the ground.
Well, listen, I understand a couple of things are going to get burned down. But it's not like there's.
I'm not saying somebody's house. Someone's going to lose their house.
No.
Well, you know what I mean. Like shit's going to get out of hand at some point in the streets of Buffalo if the Bills make the Super Bowl. I write it down. It's going to happen.
Did you guys see after they won last week? It was the fucking best. Like, I've seen all the table breaking videos, like every single one of them. I've seen people fucking at Bills Stadium. I've seen it all. I've seen all the Bills Mafia shit. But this one really stood out. There's this dude walking through Allentown, and it was after the game, and he's walking quietly through the intersection with a bunch of people kind of here and there, and he's got a dart hanging out of his mouth. He's got a smoke. And he puts the table down neatly on the other side of the intersection. Do you see
I
this?
see this. Yep.
And
there's cops all around.
Cops everywhere. And they're laughing. They're loving it. They're having coffee, going, do it, man. Break the fucking table. So he not only stands there for a second, takes a big drag of his cigarette,
Here's the moment.
Puts it back in his mouth, and then fucking destroys the table, gets back up with the smoke still in his mouth. Like, he didn't drop the smoke. And I'm watching, and he just stood there like this after. I am the happiest I've ever been in my time. That, to me, in a microcosm, told me everything I needed to know about the change and the confidence that you guys have as sports fans. That was fucking awesome.
It's funny you say that because, the Taron Johnson pick six.
Oh God! First of all, hang on. What did you guys do? Tell me what you did.
Okay.
When he picked it off, I want your whole reaction from you first, Joe, and then you, Duane, because I tweeted out, I fucking wished I was watching the games with some of the guys at Trainwreck because that was electric. Like, I was standing up, jumping around.
First of all, what I actually did was when I saw it happen, I kind of froze because there's been not many Buffalo Bills moments where I felt like, wow, did that really just fucking happen, right? So I immediately went to my buddy's garage, got his table out, and jumped through it. And I've never jumped through a table before. And the reason I did, I will send you the video and you can post it, use whatever.
Do it.
I literally jumped through a table because when so I'm actually from Rochester, New York, which is an hour down the 90 from Buffalo.
And all at Kodak.
Yes. everybody, that I went to school with, you were a Bills fan or you were a Cowboys fan or whatever, but everyone's dream city is to live south. I always wanted to live in Buffalo since the day I was born. Like, I'm more of a Buffalonian than I am a Rochesterian, as they say. But when you're born into Bills fanhood, you're christened in by, my dad bought me my first Bills outfit, and I had a Bills bear. Jim Kelly was the hero in the household. He was the best quarterback. Dan Marino couldn't put a drive together without a freaking flag, is what my dad says all the time. You hate Tom Brady. And, the Bills have been bad for so long that I felt I needed to be christened into this new Bills mafia, being a fan for so long that I said, screw this. I'm going to jump through a table because I have to. And, Duane will tell you, my favorite player right now for the Buffalo Bills is none other than Tyler Bass, the wonderful rookie kicker who set a franchise record this year. In a single season, he broke a Steve Christie, 140 points. Tyler Bass had 141 in the regular season to set this record that was set in 1998. I mean, to do it in that jersey on my friend's front lawn, who was my best friend, we've been through it, was just incredible. So I feel like I'm like just this brand new Bills fan. I just woke up, just screw it. I don't even think about the past anymore. Like, bring it on, Kansas City. Let's go.
Unless your boy Tyler Bass misses wide right with like 2 seconds left. Sorry, dude.
Dean, don't do that to me, okay? Or I'll have to bring up the Sabres-Leafs series back in the day where we were the underdogs and whoop that ass.
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm not a Sabres. I'm not a Leafs fan. Like I'm again out of market guy. I grew up being an Oilers fan. If I was a hockey guy, so I'm watching them win, which is great. A little torn this evening, but I get it. Like I get the understanding that you guys have of not just the game. Like, it's different in Canada. Canadians, we got nothing. The CFL sucks. But you guys grow up. Like, you grew up with the dad teaching you the game, watching the game with you, living the game. Duane grew up submerged and immersed in not just the Sabres, but the way the Bills and what the Bills mean to this team. Which brings me to the next question. I don't know that I've ever seen, and I saw it after the game, listening to the press guys talk to Stephon Diggs, media talk to Josh Allen. They're calling each other by first names. Like, yeah, Mike, go ahead. I'm listening to you. Yeah, go ahead. And they have normal conversations. Up here, it's not like that. It is like us versus them. But in Buffalo, I don't know if it's like this with the Sabres, the relationship the players have and the team has with not just the media, but the fans is completely fucking different than anywhere else. Maybe the Packers, you might get that same sort of like that feeling of ownership of the team, but it's like refreshing to watch. And now that you guys are actually good, now that the Bills are legitimate contenders, it's like fucking a trip down memory lane for guys like me. It's like, wow, I remember this, right? I remember how much that team is loved in that city.
Well, and it's funny you bring up the media change and the shift in the culture in the media room. Now, as a student at the University of Buffalo, I had a background in journalism. And one of the things that they tell you is like, don't accept things from people. You got to have journalism integrity and you have to follow the ethics and you have to report fairly. But
by the way, I've been a journalist for a long time, or a media guy for a long time.
Yeah.
We took all the stuff.
Yeah, right.
Just
and
give us stuff, we take it.
Sean McDermott and the Bills give the media guys cookies. I've actually never had the chance to be in the media room. I'm working towards that, but I've seen, from a few friends, they're getting like holiday cookies, end of the year cookies, just thank you notes, because I mean, let's face it, we want to report facts. We want to report the news, but at the same time, like, this is one of the most incredible times to be a sports fan in Buffalo for the Bills. And why spew so much hate towards each other when you can just enjoy the moment and cover, be fair, but cover the great moments that happen in basketball, because it's not going to be there forever.
No, I completely agree. I want to talk a little bit about the game this weekend. I at first, as a Bills fan, I was like, I hope Mahomes doesn't play. And then I fucking thought about it after the last little while, and watching him get up and not knowing if he's going to play. And then, I heard Andy Reid today say, yeah, we're leaning towards him playing and he feels good. So we'll see what happens. So it looks like he's going to play. I think if you're a Bills fan and you have this team, you want Patrick Mahomes to play. You want to be the best, don't you?
Yeah, Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes, no matter which way you spin it. Whether he's got a hurt toe that he had last week, a concussion, whatever, Patrick Mahomes comes ready to play, and he's electrifying. But Josh Allen's just as electrifying. So I agree with you. I mean, I want Patrick Mahomes to play because I think this is the matchup that we've wanted the whole season. Bills Chiefs AFC Championship. And Dean, funny thing is my part-time job, I'm a bartender at the Kansas City Backers Bar of Western New York. Okay. One of my best friends, Vinny, is a diehard Chiefs fan. So the fact that I have to sit there and hear all the time about my Bills are going to get stomped out and Patrick Mahomes is the second coming of Christ, this whole thing, I mean, this is just great. You know, it's good to have that rivalry, but the fact that I work at a Kansas City Chiefs Backers Bar in Western New York, one, that's the craziest thing ever because I've never seen it. And two, I have to deal with just this Kansas City Chiefs fan who grew up in the Bronx. so you get those two together, you know, it's like it's great.
Maybe the most annoying personality in the world.
He's like a big brother to me, and I couldn't thank him enough.
Oh, is
but,
he?
man, he's been talking crap to me all week, and he actually hasn't texted me. I think he's mad at me. So,
what do you think's going to happen this weekend, Duane? What do you think? Where if you could, I know obviously you want the Bills to win, and you'd love to see a good game and all that other shit. But with a banged up Patrick Mahomes, the way that the Bills played last week, I give them full fucking marks. I think that they're going to not just be competitive. I think they're going to win.
I think so too, Dean. I think, again, as I stated earlier, this is going to be a very high scoring affair. I think it's going to come down to, who can create the turnovers, who can get that timely turnover, the takeaway, that key stop. I really think that's what's going to happen here. One of us is going to go for it on fourth down and, with a huge stop, something along those lines. I think that's how this game is. That's going to be the turning point of this game. With that being said, he mentioned earlier, that Taron Johnson takeaway. One other big takeaway that I remember from my adolescence over the last 10 years, and this goes to show like the commitment of this fan base and like that we appreciate even the little victories. Was the biggest victory up until the end of the drought was in fact the first time we beat the Patriots in I don't know how many years. And I still have it framed. I grabbed it before we started conversating. It framed, that Sports Illustrated cover right there. Drayton
Florence
running into the end zone to put the Bills 3-0. The Ryan Fitzpatrick girlish scream in the end zone celebrating. It was unbelievable. Freddie Jackson, just those absolute buttes on those teams. And just, you see the great thing about that is those same guys who were on those teams have our back right now and are still cheering for us. They want to see us as fans and this franchise get what it's deserved, what it's been longing for so many years. And that's why I think this team just can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. Patrick Mahomes will not stop this team. I really believe in Josh Allen, and I didn't used to believe in Josh Allen. I am a Josh Allen apologist through and through, and I'm proud of it. I'll admit when I was wrong. I'm more of a man than Nick Wright is. That's for sure.
I watched you skewer Nick Wright. All of you guys just shit on him for probably a solid week afterwards. So,
and then he puts a piss poor performance on today in some random weird alley, in a pre-taped recording of him having a couple people squirt ketchup and mustard on him. Pinto Ron, if he was dead, he'd be rolling in his grave right now.
Yeah, good thing he's not dead. I saw Pinto run for the first time. I've seen him get bukkakied with all kinds of condiments, but which is really what it is, right? It's like a condiment bukkake.
Yeah, pretty much.
If you've got a fetish for ketchup and mustard, Pinto Ron is just pure porn, like absolute porn. But I didn't realize they called him Pinto Ron because he drove a Pinto. I thought it was a bean thing. I had no idea, but he seems like such a sweet guy. Like that's and then again, I take that on listening to him, watching him talk. I'm really enjoying the season. This is a lot of fun. I really wish I could be down at the stadium with guys bukkakeing me with all kinds of Heinz and French's mustard. But I'm just happy that and I saw him at the game and I was excited for him. But that's what this love of this team does. It takes like normal, kind octogenarians and it makes them crazy enough to stand. They stand up below a table full of people with ketchup bottles and just get labeled with this stuff. Like that's how much this team means to normal individuals.
Yeah, like I've actually been up in the ketchup mustard fiasco.
The splash zone? Were you in the splash zone? Yeah.
So I was I'm a lifelong intern for my friend Matt Perino, who covers the Bills. And I was helping him film, and he was all prim, nice dressed to go in the press box that day. And he said, "Hey," he goes, get up in there and then take a video of it." And I'm like, "All right, like, yeah, I'll do it. Whatever. I'm going to go watch the game and have a few beers anyways." So I get in there and they're calling it out. And all of a sudden, like, I mean, the guy, Pinto Ron, standing in front of me, and I'm thinking, okay, he's going to get doused in it. No, people are missing left and right. And I got all this ketchup and mustard all over me, like, for no reason. And recently, I don't know if you've seen Brother Bill, the playoff Bill on Twitter. He's the guy that does all the primetime videos, you know, gets up in the morning, puts the Labatt Blue in the Keurig. He posted a picture recently of a Pinto Ron tailgate. And I'm looking at the picture and I go, "Hey, that's me." I'm like, "Yep, that's me." I didn't get hit yet, but I was like, I remember that day. I went to the game smelling mustard in my nose the whole game. But the guy cooks breakfast on a hubcap from the Pinto. Like, it's all clean, but they do that. They do the filing cabinet pizza with Pizza Pete. I mean, it's incredible. Just a really cool, unique.
Well, filing cabinet pizza? Like they turned a filing cabinet into a pizza oven? Is that correct?
I think Dave, when Dave Portnoy from Barstool was at the Bills tailgate, I'm pretty sure he gave his pizza like an over a 7 rating too.
It was like a 7.5 or 8. It was incredible. Like,
supposed to be pretty good. I bet
that's hilarious.
It's supposed to be very, very good.
Yeah.
Do you guys miss the tailgating?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. In that Pinto Ron tailgate, there's a bowling ball they give you. They put a shot in, and when you're done drinking the shot from the bowling ball, you spike it. So they've had like guys like Aaron Williams come through, former Buffalo Bill defensive back has done it. They've just had, you know, these Bills players that may have come through that just do it. And it's incredible. I mean, everyone's great. They're friendly. And Dean, if you ever get a chance to come up, we'll take you through there and really show you.
I'd have to go with you guys. I'd need a Sherpa for that kind of stuff because I my head would be spinning, like looking for danger everywhere. I'd be like, no, I can't go there. I don't want to go there. Oh, someone's taking a dump.
I made us seem like maniacs earlier, and yeah, we are maniacs, but you know, we're respectful maniacs. If you're a part of Bills Mafia, if you're part of the family, you're a part of our family. That's how it is. It doesn't matter if you're a Bills fan, a Sabres fan.
How do you get to be a Bills Mafia member? Like, is it just a thing? Like, I know you guys are legit Bills Mafia. I'm a Bills fan and have been for 40 years, but I would love to be in Bills Mafia. I would love to be part of the group.
I don't think there's any. Go ahead.
We don't run it per se. There's you know, Del Reed is like one of the main guys. And is it Breon? Breon's the other one. And there's one other.
Oh, it's an actual organization.
Yeah, after Stevie Johnson dropped the game-winning touchdown pass against the Pittsburgh Steelers. What was it? 2011 or 2010. That
was another epic loss.
They said hashtag Bills Mafia, and they helped, you know, start this. So, you know, I mean, you could join the Facebook fan page. They'll ask you like a couple questions, but you know, I want to give a shout out to them because I want people to know just how important, especially Del Reed, you know, has been to the Buffalo community. You talk about all these charitable donations. It started with you know, with him. That Andy Dalton donation was something that Del started along with the rest of Bills Mafia. So that just kind of trickled down, and it's just so awesome to be like an incredible human being, and Del made it like cool, which it always should be cool, but like Del wears it like it's just, he makes everybody just so proud to be from here. It's incredible.
Sure. Yeah, there's a brotherhood with Bills Mafia, right? Like that's, you know, it's funny because I sling Bills Mafia in tweets and we talk about it in posts and we talk about it in podcasts, and I'm like, wish I was in the group. You know,
I mean, honestly, Dean, it's a way of life. It's not even just like some, you know, exclusive club that you need membership to. It's a way of life. And if you carry yourself a certain way, you show love to your fellow Bills fan, and, you know, you're passionate about the Bills, you're part of Bills Mafia, and it's just a way of life. And, you know,
do you remember when Bills Mafia, they coined it? And I remember it was like a little bit, they were like, we don't know if we like it. You know what I mean? Like I think the NFL maybe had a bit of an issue with it when it first started, and Bills Mafia like kind of bloomed into this humanitarian sort of fan group, right? Like that's, and not just the humanitarian fan group, but like completely fucking dangerous. Things that you guys do to prove your love to this team, jumping on tables off the top of buildings, setting them up in the corner. Like it's turned into a brotherhood of crazies, but really, really responsible crazies that just fucking love each other and love the brotherhood, right? And the sisterhood.
You want to know how crazy this is? It's so crazy how much the city's embraced Bills Mafia that recording artist Benny the Butcher, and like the Griselda group, you know, they embraced it so much that the Buffalo Bills and the Pagulas were like, hey, we want to do like a clothing line with you guys. Like, and then they you know, struck a deal with the Bills Mafia clothing line. So just the fact that they're, you know, kind of getting involved too as well is just making this just even that much better. So I know Duane can speak to this too. You know, Bills Mafia shirts are like hard to find now. Like, you know, this cool clothing line they have that, you know, it's hard to find now. It's cool to be in Bills Mafia. It's always been cool, but now it's becoming like nationally recognized. You can't say it's synonymous. You can't say include the Bills without Bills Mafia. So it's incredible.
And another thing too is, you know, I had it worded perfectly in my head while you were talking there. Konze.
It's my fault, Duane. I do it all the time to you.
You know,
you spacing out, Duane? You gapping out, bud?
Yeah. You know, it's, you know,
long day.
Yeah,
long day at the grind.
It's been a long.
It's okay. It's all right. I was just. It's good. I'm glad you're not talking right now, because I would have forgotten what I was going to ask you too, because Joe brought it up. The Pagulas. Now
that's
the
what I was going to bring up. Now you reminded me. You clicked. You talked
okay. I'll get to the Pagulas in a second, but like I've watched you be really, really, really fucking hard on the Pagulas because of what they've done or not done with the Sabres, and rightfully so. You became famous because you went on a tirade a couple of years ago on WGR talking about how they've let you in the city down and all this. Do you think anything different of them now that they've put together an AFC Championship game team and the window's open and Brandon Beane has done such a good job, and you know the team looks like it's maybe the most solid it's been in 25 years, or are you still going to keep shitting on them for the Sabres?
I'm going to give criticism when it's due, and there's a lot of layers to the way I feel about the Pagula family. I don't hate them. You know, I don't hate people. Like, I don't hate. There's very few people in this world that I hate and that I dislike. That, you know, and the Pagulas aren't part of that. It's for me.
But do you dislike the Pagulas enough to not talk about the Pagulas when you're talking about the Bills? Only talk about them when you're talking about the Sabres.
Here's the biggest difference between the way they've run the Bills and the way they've run the Sabres is they found the formula to winning. You know, quicker than they did with the Sabres. They've been through 5 coaches and 4 GMs now with Buffalo since buying the team. You know, they found the formula quicker, and a lot of people might call it luck. Now, when I say luck, I don't say that that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are lucky. I think that there's no way that they could have known that things could have turned around this quickly with the Bills when they made that hire. And I truly believe that. So they made the right.
You think they got lucky? You think Brandon and the Pagulas got lucky by Josh Allen progressing as much as because the jump he's made has been like fucking no. I don't know of a player that's been that impactful after being that shitty in his first year.
I mean, do I think that they knew that he was going to break almost every single quarterback franchise record in Bill's history in his third year?
Quickly? Yeah.
No way. There's just no way. I'm not going to sit there and try and speak for them and say that they wouldn't think that he would eventually become this quarterback. But, the Bills Mafia, Bills fans everywhere didn't believe in that pick. They didn't, whether that was media driven or just a simple eye test or just kind of ignorance is bliss. I think luck plays into everything in the sports world. It's not just in the sports world, but in life. They got lucky that that combination of coach and GM worked out as well as it did. And then it's not taking away from anything from Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, because they are great at what they do. They are more than
you can throw Brian Daboll into that too.
Yeah. Yes, Brian Daboll too. But with the Sabres, it's like it's a vicious circle. Every 2 years, new coach, new GM, new coach, new GM. And they can't find that formula to winning. And I think it's because they're more hands-on with the Sabres than they should be, that rather than they are with the Bills. They have that winning formula in place with the Bills, so they don't need to have their fingers in everything with the Bills because they have people that are trustworthy in place. Whereas with the Sabres, not so much. And it hasn't been like that. Even with their hire of JM Kevin Adams. Kevin Adams is a Pagula guy. He was born and bred, 2 years ago, he was coaching at the Academy of Hockey. He wasn't in in a role with the organization, where he was developing professional.
Got a tough hairline too, that guy. Maybe one of the worst hairlines in the business.
Right. And just, you hope that this isn't another one of those hires. Like, so far it seems so good. A lot of issues that weren't addressed though, that are glaring right now more than ever in net. And on the blue line, in my opinion. But so far he's done a decent job and I can't complain. But who else did a decent job when he first started? Tim Murray, he orchestrated the tank, got Jack Eichel. He made huge deals for guys like Evander Kane and Ryan O'Reilly. He made groundbreaking deals, things that Sabres fans haven't seen and like at all ever. Deals made like that to bring faces like that to the city. And then how did things end up? A year later he's fired, and a year after that Ryan O'Reilly's gone and winning a Stanley Cup in St. Louis. Again, I said it earlier on WGR. This, Buffalo, right? At least right now, the Sabres, they've made losing an art form, and it's always, it puts us at the butt end of a joke. When people think about Buffalo, you think, oh, Ryan O'Reilly lost his passion for the game there, went to St. Louis and won a cup the next season.
And Conn Smythe as the best player in the playoffs.
With Jack Eichel as his guest at the game with tickets. All because of a stupid fist bump. This guy, the way he spoke, gets traded, and they say Eichel doesn't like him, and he's sitting literally front row wherever he's sitting with O'Reilly's family.
Yeah. Yep, it's wild. And when Josh Allen picked up their check at dinner, I think he was out to dinner with O'Reilly. Yeah, it's their media. A lot of stuff here is so media driven. It's disgusting. We had a media guy here, Paul Hamilton, who just got his job back with WGR 550. I'm not going to speak ill of the guy. I'm sure he's a great guy in real life, but I think as far as reporting goes, it's laziness and he does a lot of things for clicks. He threw gas on that fire as often as he could. As soon as in his opinion, there was a rift between Jack Eichel and Ryan O'Reilly, a thing that wasn't there. Then when both players came out and flat out and said, no, there's nothing there, all because of a non-fist bump during a handshake or something stupid like that. And they both said, no, there's nothing there. And Paul Hamilton still died on that hill. No, there's definitely something there. Jack, no, there's nothing there, dude. Riley, no. Like Paul, well, you guys didn't bump fists, so I'm gonna die on this hill.
And what are the Sabres missing right now? A two-way center that's incredible, like Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah, we hope Eric Stahl is
and a goaltender and a couple defensemen, but other than that, you're fine. Yeah. You're only 1-3 in the East. You're dead last. But you know what? It's funny because I look at your team and I liken them a little bit, obviously without the McDavid and the Draisaitl, to the Oilers and their fucking dilemma. They have nobody to play goal. They got Koskinen and they got Mike Smith, and that is it. And it's like a fucking crying shame because you look at what they have up front and how they piece this team together. And Connor McDavid being the greatest player of our generation, one of them, the most talented player of our generation, best hockey player, pure hockey player and athlete I've ever seen. And Draisaitl, who's an MVP. And they piece these shitty goaltenders together. It's like, that's where you want to fucking have some. And you know what? I blame Antti Niemi for winning that cup with the Hawks several years ago and being a nothing goalie. But they had everybody up front. But you have to have, and you've got to invest in goaltending. And I love Hutton. I think he's probably a really great. I don't love him. He's probably a great guy, but he's not a number one NHL goaltender, and he never has been. But you piece together a team with Taylor Hall, former MVP, Eric Stahl, Stanley Cup champion, Jeff Skinner buried on the fucking fourth line for some god-awful reason. But you've still got. We'll get to that in a second. Yeah. But you don't invest at all in goaltending, and that's the problem with teams.
There's so many goaltenders available in the offseason.
I know, and they did nothing. They did absolutely nothing.
They got Dustin Tokarski, who is a nobody. Backed up Carey Price for a while. Not Charlie, Carey Price for a while. He's a nobody. But it's just for me, it comes down to one thing. And you brought up the Hawks earlier. A lot of teams kind of wrote the blueprint for this. It's in my opinion, I'm a goalie, and Johnny will agree with me too, is that you don't need elite goaltending in this league to win. Antti Niemi is an example of that. Crawford, right after him, he's an example of that. Wasn't an elite goaltender. He wasn't.
Chris Osgood, that's another
example. This past season with Dallas, it's criminal that I can't remember his name.
Khudobin.
Dobin, yeah, Anton Dobin.
Who got massively paid. Well, not massively. He got a pretty good contract for that.
Got a pretty good contract considering the circumstances with COVID. He got a good contract. And just like, even
it happens from time to time though. Like you look. Do you remember when Philly went on that crazy run a couple years ago with Michael Leighton? It's about 10 years ago, I guess.
They wanted a heater.
Yeah,
heater. Weren't they like an 8 seed or something?
The difference is you have to build the team in front of them. That you build in front of your goaltender, and you can get away with average goaltending or good enough to win goaltending. Even Jonathan Quick in LA, he was a phenomenal playoff goaltender, but he was not anything special in the regular season. But you know what? They had such a stacked, deep team in front of him. They won 2 cups. I think it was just 2.
Yeah, you can get away. You can get away with having an above average goalie, not a superstar goalie, if you have a great fucking hockey team in front of them. You don't have that, right? You're piecing it together. But I will tell you this: the one thing I've really loved is watching you shit on Casey Middlestat too. I think that's really fun. You should have called it. He came into camp like 40 pounds overweight. I was expecting someone to call him Casey Middlefat, but not one person.
Wait, what did he do? Lose? He lost a pound.
Lost 3 pounds. This is what I think of Casey. This is what happens. This is what I think of Casey Middlestat.
Let me just tell you how I used to, and I, with all due respect, I used to make fun of the Oilers because I used to compare the Oilers to that 16-year-old kid who just got his license. Parents get him a great car. He crashes the car and gets a brand new one next week because they would get all these first-round picks and they would just ruin them. With all due respect. And I always had like a soft spot for the Oilers. Growing up, my dad would talk about the Oilers all the time. Those cup teams, incredible teams.
Unreal.
But then as a Sabres fan, you think about it. As much as the Oilers might be that car driving off a cliff or into a wall, the Sabres are that car that drove off the cliff but continues to roll and doesn't stop. It just continues to go down. And it sucks to think, but, I'm with Duane on this too. Like, at what point in Casey Middlestat's career does the light bulb go off saying, geez, I might want to pick up a weight, or geez, I might want to train with Jack Eichel and live with him for a summer? Mm-hmm. I don't know, like something. But the fact that Dylan Cousins is out, just showing us how much improved he is by working out and playing, it's night and day. And I don't hate people. Like Duane said, we don't hate people, but it's so sickening to see this guy.
Talent.
Talent, so talented, soft hands, but couldn't do a pull-up in the combine. You'd think you'd want to be able to do 10, 15 pull-ups by now.
Yeah. I don't think Mitchie Marner can do a pull-up either, but I was watching him play the other night, and he's got some crazy vision, right? Like he's just with the puck and gliding, like just as fast as everybody skates. He just sees the ice so well, and he's able to distribute the puck. Casey Middlestat isn't that good, right? And so, I don't know how much weight I think Mitch put on 4 pounds or 6 pounds. Austin Matthews lost 6 in the offseason, and no one's shitting on him.
I think
he's really good.
I think he stopped drinking. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Like you just said, like Austin Matthews losing 6 pounds. Yeah. Like, I mean, he still scores.
You're just fucking sour, Duane. Fuck Austin
Matthews. Stupid Prada fucking man person, Gucci shoes.
He loves it. He
can sit on a bike with no seat. I don't give a shit.
Oh man.
That's really nice. You know what I love about Austin Matthews is that he doesn't give a shit about anything anybody says. It's almost like he's built, I don't know how, but his DNA is like all Toronto market because it's unflappable. Like it's, the only time I've ever seen him piss was when, have you guys heard of a writer up here named Steve Simmons?
Yes. I read a lot of his stuff. I read a lot of his stuff because he's crazy.
He's a shit. He's garbage.
He's nuts.
Bruce Arthur, human fucking garbage. So if you remember back when Phil the Thrill was here, he was the guy that invented this story that Phil used to walk every day 5 kilometers to the same fucking hot dog stand before and after practice. And all he did was eat hot dogs and not give a shit about the game. So they actually, like, here in Toronto, you can write stuff. And we used to just kind of take it for granted. But now that we have this thing called the internet, people like do a little research when they read shit, right? So we actually had to map it out. And it was more like a 10-kilometer walk that Phil would have had to have done inside 3 minutes. And it would be completely in the other direction that he was going when he goes to the gym. So it was a completely fabricated fucking story, like a totally fabricated story. But the only time I've ever seen Austin Matthews mad was at him because this was the guy that leaked his COVID diagnosis last year, if you remember, or a few months ago.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah, he leaks his COVID diagnosis, and Matthews, unflappable. He's like, "Yeah, I'll answer your question, Steve, but I really didn't appreciate what you said about me and giving away private medical information. Anyway, here's the answer to your question." And I'm like, the guy's fucking unflappable. If that was anybody else, they would have said, "Hey, Steve, how about this? Go fuck your hat. I'm never answering another one of your questions again."
How about you mentioned the hot dog story with Phil Kessel? My buddy, one of my buddies, Bobby, told me, "Hey man, the Sabres should make this trade where they trade for Phil Kessel, and then he could come here and do Ted's hot dog commercials, and the Sabres could market Phil Kessel." Like, it was like this crazy train plan. He's like, great hockey player, comes to Buffalo. City would love him, loves hot dogs. And then, like, when I found out that was just, just like this hoax, like, it was crazy. But did you see Jakub Voracek the other day in his interview?
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
God, he called the reporter a weasel. These guys are brutal.
Yeah. Jakub, the guy's name was Mike Salweski, I think his name, and he's a writer, beat reporter for the Philadelphia Flyers. Maybe one of the greatest post-game hockey interviews ever. Yeah. And it's about fucking time players realized they had far more power than anybody writing the game, right? Especially assholes like that. And to take advantage of that moment and to speak so fucking freely, I'm on Team Voracek. I'm on Team Voracek anytime some asshole reporter says, "Hey, tell us what it was like to lose that game. Take us through that loss. Why didn't you play better?" And I'm a fan, and I talk about the games. We love the game, but I'm never going to say to a player, if I was ever in that scrum or if I was ever one of those reporters, "Tell me how you feel about feeling terrible." I would love to know.
What my question that I always ask, and Duane and I talked about this recently, was why do reporters feel the need sometimes? Hockey players historically a lot of them don't have these personalities that you're looking for, and these NFL or NBA players. Like, it's going to take a lot for you to write a story, but stop making things up. Like, Torts showed us, they got pulled Tortorella's personality out of them because they were creating havoc. It's like, let the story tell itself. Like, maybe going up to Jack Eichel's stall every 5 minutes and saying, "Hey, how'd you feel?" Like you said, "How'd you feel about that loss?" Well, no wonder he's going to be mad.
Hey, one of the reporters last year was like, "Hey, Jack, I just wonder if you're getting sick of this." And I'm like,
of course. Yeah. Like, and then they're asking Samson Reinhart, who had like a double shift, "Why'd you give up on the play?" I don't know. Maybe the guy was going to have a heart attack chasing down Dylan Larkin, who's one of the fastest skaters in the NHL. Like, it's just, you're trying to create stories out of thin air. Don't stop doing it. Like, hockey players historically have not had personalities. You do get guys like Bissonnette, Brizgalov, the Phil Kessels. You get those guys every now and then, but you can't force a personality out of someone. They either have it or they don't. Plain and simple.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great point. Just be happy Phil Kessel doesn't play for your team. My favorite Phil Kessel story, and this is a true story because it was told to me by one of the directors at Maple Leaf Sports Entertainment. He's like, the guy's incredible. And he wasn't shitting on him. He's like, listen to this story. Mm-hmm. He said he was down at the MasterCard Center, which is where the Leafs practice. And he was standing outside with a couple of other executives, and they were talking about a few things. And all of a sudden, this pizza car shows up to the side door at the MasterCard Center. And they're looking at this guy, and they're like, "Fuck, this guy delivering pizza here." And you gotta you gotta have a pass to get into the parking lot that they were in, right?
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, the door opens, and it's Phil Kessel with his skates still on, no guards. After practice. This is a true story. I know it for a fact. With no guards, so he's destroyed his fucking tax or CCMs, whatever he was wearing. And he's like, "Hey," looks at the guys. "Hey, hair's kind of all over the place." Hands the guy $50, takes the pizza, walks right back in. They walk in about 5 minutes later. He's still sitting at the back door, leaning on the back, eating pizza out of the box. And then he came back 5 minutes later. The pizza's gone, the box is there, and Phil's back in the dressing room getting undressed. Like, that was Phil Kessel. So I get the hatred that people have for Phil because he didn't really that was Phil. It's the old saying. That's just
you
Phil.
Remember, Phil. You remember when he got snubbed for the Olympic team, and he sent out that tweet? "Should be doing something today, but can't quite put my finger on it."
That was a good tweet.
Amazing. That was great. Amazing. That was the hockey tweet of the fucking year, man. I think it's still the last. I honestly think it might even still be the last thing he tweeted.
There's only one other guy in the NHL that drinks more Pepsi products than Phil Kessel, and that's Alexander Ovechkin. It's great company to be in. So,
yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, fellas, listen, I appreciate you doing this. Joe Konze Jr. and Duane Steinel from Trainwreck Sports. Say hi to Ty for me and keep it up. You guys do just a fucking terrific job.
Thank you.
And you can look for Joe's stuff at DeanBlundell.com. He's got a piece on the Bills coming tomorrow. Is that correct?
Tomorrow. Yep.
Yeah, really exciting. And Duane's Two Goalies, One Mike is a hilarious podcast. It's fucking deep. It's passionate. It's all Sabres. Duane's just as crazy in the podcast as he is in real fucking life. So it works. It's him and Cully. You can get it at DeanBlundell.com. You can get it at iTunes as well. But great job and good job with Crossing Swords the other day. I watched your first intermission podcast, and I'm like, these guys really fucking love hockey when they're podcasting between intermissions.
Yeah, we do. We just want Skinner. We just want Skinner on the top line. But other than that, we love doing that.
Hashtag free Skinner.
Free Skinner. Hashtag.
Listen, if you see Jeff Skinner, he used to babysit my kids years ago. When they were really young, because we lived on the same street.
Oh, nice.
And
do you still like, collaborate with them at all?
No.
Dwayne.
No.
Hey, when the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to take it. I want to hear Jeff's opinions on his matters with Ralph Kruger personally from the dog.
You know what? I his folks are sweet. They're dad, the overachiever family.
Dad, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no.
I'll read his dog. Bring his dog on the show. I don't care.
Mom's a lawyer. Dad is a lawyer. Both high-powered folks. But they treated they made their kids do their schoolwork. They made their kids all become lifeguards. They made their kids work in the Ontario legislature. This is like one of them. And you won't find a kinder, nicer individual than Jeff Skinner. All the Skinner kids are the same way. His kids are all fucking adults now. So I hope he finds his way off the fourth line. That'd be great.
So do we.
That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Thanks, boys. Appreciate you doing this. We'll talk to you soon.
Take care.
Thanks, Dean.
All right.
Thanks, Dean.
Anytime. No problem. Thank you. Joe Konze Jr. And Duane Steinel, both from Trainwreck Sports and DeanBlundell.com. Appreciate it. Go Bills. I feel like just by osmosis, I'm a member of the Bills Mafia now. So thank you very much. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. Don't forget, you can get everything we do at DeanBlundell.com. Go Tyler Bass. Yeah, he's awesome. And download our podcast wherever you find your fine podcasts, including iTunes, DeanBlundell.com. We are now the home of, 35 different podcasts, which is a little bit of everything. It's like a smattering, if you will. It's a Pinto Ron. It's a bukkake of podcasts. So please join us there if you can. And thanks to our friends at Blue Microphones, the official microphone of DeanBlundell.com. Domination software. You want to get creative, go to domination.com or go to DeanBlundell.com and click on the Domination thing. If you've got a podcast, we want to help you. It's how it works. And our friends over at Ed's Fine Imports, his Gitch, the greatest. Gitch. Buy 3, get 1 for free when you use promo code GITCH3. They're boxer briefs. I'll make sure I send you guys a pair too. Best underwear you'll ever have.
Awesome.
Easily. They're the ones with the pouch in the front.
Nice.
So you slide your things in there and they kind of, they sit in there away from your legs. There's nothing worse than the leg stick.
It's like a penalty box for your nuts. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a penalty box for your nutsack. Anyway, thanks to our sponsors. Thanks to you for listening. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Take care.